Hey, welcome to another edition of Influence Today with Chet Tart and Terry Lyles. Hey, first of all, I want to thank everyone who's been contacting us in the last couple of weeks, talking about the podcast
Mhm.
and talking about the topics and how it affected their lives and how it influenced them. That's the topic, Influence Today. So totally appreciate that. And by the way, if you do like it, please share with other people. And if there's any comments you want to make, let us know. It's real easy to contact us, and we'll tell you more as we go along. Hi, Terry. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you. Another great day in the neighborhood, so excited to chat with you again.
Well, I'm excited to dig deep into something that you talked about yesterday. We were at Leadership Business Council, and you were the speaker,
Mhm.
and we were talking about different elements of purpose and passion and what makes elite people and elite teams.
Yes.
And I want to drill down a little bit on purpose. I mean, I meet managers today, and their job is different from the job that they should be doing. You
Mhm.
know, they're working on numbers, they're working on goals, but what they should be doing is managing their people, coaching their people, helping their people, and delivering a clear message. I always say the clear message is important. One of the
Yeah.
elements you brought up yesterday was motivation and purpose. And then you threw in the word passion. Maybe you could fill us in a little bit deeper about the importance of a leader and offering a purpose. Why are we here?
Yeah, it's a great question, Chet. You heard me ask that question to the entire group in that conference room multiple times. Why are you here? Why are you here? And I would say, here's why I'm here. Why are you here? Why? And it's such a powerful question. If you want an answer, you need a question. You're not going to get an answer without a question. You might get a statement, but you need a question. And I ask a lot of questions like you do. That's why you're a great interviewer because you ask questions and I try to answer, and then I ask questions of others and they try to answer. And it's very powerful. But purpose is a question. Who am I? Not just why am I here in this event or this podcast, but who am I? And how does that distill into your purpose? Because I could say I'm a father, I'm a dad. Father's a provider, a dad's a guy you play and have fun with and play ball with, and laugh. And I'm a husband. I'm a business leader. I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, you can come up with a lot of questions. So as we talk about that, it's very interesting to keep thinking, who am I? And why am I here to be present in this conversation? Because purpose is the foundation of everything that we do that matters. But purpose is not the biggest piece. It's what drives purpose. And that's what I said yesterday. It's inspiration. It's really not motivation. Passion, perseverance, and force. Those are great things. Passion, perseverance, force, motivation. Those are great things. But inspiration is what drives that. So inspiration is a question to myself, what inspires me?
Well, how does a manager inspire their people? What would you say are some of the tools that they could use? I'm not sure that they
Mhm.
understand when the employees win, you win.
Correct. Well, I think, I use a simple version of this in coaching, and I know I've heard you do enough of your coaching. I know you do a similar thing. Um, I keep it really simple that you have to cast a big vision, a big, hairy, audacious vision. Here's why we're here as a company, as a department, as a team, whatever that might be, and cast that vision on a regular basis. Make it a part of your conversation every day. We're here because, hey, it's about client A, it's about client B, it's about our new book release, it's about the new podcast, you have to cast vision and then you have to repeat it over and over and over again and then build accountability to make sure people get it because you have to hear things more than 20 times to really get it.
Sure.
You can't
Yeah.
just hear it
Yeah.
once or twice. I mean, people listen to our podcast. I listen to podcasts. I even watch like Netflix series a few times because you miss things. You go back and go, it's a great show. You go back and watch it again, you're like, wow, I didn't catch that the first time. So this repetitive, influential marination of information and knowledge helps. And I think a lot of times leaders, we cast a vision, it's on the wall. Here's your due diligence. Go do what you do, and I'm going to hold you accountable. That's not effective today in the information world we live in. Our minds are boggled with just so much data, intel that we get lost in the weeds ourselves.
You know, you bring up a good point. I have a client who went through his staff, did their core values, did their purpose, put everything on the wall. It's a nice box lit up.
Sure.
And it's been up there maybe a year. And we're going back and we're working on a few things. And I said, "Hey, Frank, what are the core values of the company?" He said, "Can I get back to you on that?" It's sitting on the wall. They are not living it. I
Yes.
was shocked. I said, "Frank, you went all through this effort to get this, and you don't even know what your own core values are." And by the way, after you discuss the core values, everybody, what did they hear? What is their impression of what it is? Because you brought up a good point. As I communicate to you, in my mind, I have a certain agenda or purpose. They're receiving it in a different agenda and purpose. Can you
Mhm.
drill down a little bit on that and how important that is?
Yeah, I can take it down to the simplest version of 101 leadership, which is parenting, which is some of the hardest leadership I've ever been involved in. I mean,
I,
it's
all of us, right?
it'll turn you upside down because you think I got this. I did this before, and it's like, no, no, no. Listen, your kids are mini adults that are going to grow up to be somebody else who you are. They're going to be somebody totally different. We think they're going to be like us. They're not. They're going to be similar. They may be completely different, and that shocks people. So what I say in the coaching consulting world of parenting is like leadership in a company is I could say to my child, who's 11 years old turning 12, he thinks he's already 14, but he's 11. I can say, "Hey, go clean your room." He'd be like, "Okay." And he goes up and picks a couple things up off the floor and the bed's still unmade. So he did the action, but he didn't complete the project. I meant I need the whole room cleaned. Don't just pick up some socks on the floor. And I think a lot of times leaders say, "Hey, we need you to go close this deal." Okay, they go try to close this deal. I'm not closing the deal. I don't know why. Well, did you ask why you're not closing the deal? Did you ask for the sale? Did you ask, do you have a budget? Can I fit in that budget? You see, I think, again, back to your questions, back to what you asked me in the very beginning, which is the key to getting answers is sometimes we make statements and we just think people understand what we're saying or what we're asking. And probably 90% of the time, they got their own version of that. That's why you got to do it over and over. Buddy, I need you to clean your room, which means the floor, the bed, the blinds. I need you to clean the entire room. And then he's like, okay. You know what I mean? So it's being sport specific, it's being managerial specific, it's being parenting specific, it's even being marriage specific. I can say to my wife, "What do you want for dinner?" She'll be like, "I don't know, you choose." Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna do that. No, I need more. I need what are you thinking? Because I'll go do something and it's not what she was thinking. You got to keep asking questions until you get a resolution.
Questions are so important. Not everyone
Yeah.
knows how to be curious. And
Yes.
really, that is the key behind it all. One of the tools I offer is let's develop some questions while I'm here because most people don't ask. They ask the same question. You know, they're doing one-on-ones. How you doing? How's your day? And where are we on this project? And I said, one-on-ones are just not always about projects. It's about them
Mhm.
personally. And what do you think they're interested in talking about? Well, the group basically has learned how to ask better questions. We've come up with about 15 to 20 questions. And I don't want the same questions asked all the time because it's robotic. You do that.
Mhm.
They call me up and says, "I'm learning so much about the employees I didn't know. I know how they'd like to be communicated with. I know what they like or what they don't like. I know when we go to lunch where we should go to lunch." He said, "Never had that before." And they go, "This is working." And now there's a trust being built up stronger than before. So I talk about the importance of that. And yesterday you talked about becoming invaluable. How does
Mhm.
that fit in? Becoming invaluable. I mean, almost like a servant leader to your team.
Correct. Yeah, I just want to caveat with what you just said about questions because questions today has become a greeting to a lot of people. I pass by you and I go, "How you doing?" You're like,
Yeah.
"Good." That's it is a question, but there was no expected response. It could be a nod of a head. It could be, "Hey, I'm cool. How you doing?" See, I think the whole sphere of what a question is has been lost in our culture. And I think it's just not in America. I think it's global. Because everybody's like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? How do you feel today? But from the consultative therapy, counseling, coaching side, if I ask a question, I need an answer. And I'll say, you don't have to answer me right now. But I need an answer. We're going to circle back around this because I may ask you something that went like, and you don't have the answer. That's cool with that. But just know I'm going to circle back. So that's one pet peeve I have about questions. It's been washed out as a greeting card, not
Hmm.
something that you expect a result from. So first of all, second of all, becoming invaluable means you become someone that is irreplaceable in your vertical, your industry, your influence, whatever that might be. As we talk about with this influence today, I mean, how do you become the go-to person? Like if somebody says, "Wow, man, I know somebody that's so stressed out. I mean, I don't know what to do, but I know a guy. I know a guy that knows something about stress, right? If people are having spiritual problems and they're going through things and they've got a death potentially coming into family. I'm like, look, I know a guy. I mean, you go through this action of becoming invaluable means you're the person. You're the go-to. If I need food, I'm going to go to a grocery store. I may not go to every grocery store, but I'm going to go to one that I think is invaluable. Maybe it's pricing, maybe it's quality, maybe it's freshness, maybe it's convenience. It's down the street. I can take my golf cart there. Who cares? What makes one invaluable is our unique identity in the world that we project every day that I am who I am. And it goes back to how we just started. Who am I? And why am I here? That's being present.
I, what I'm hearing is, how do I add value? Is that my purpose for coming into work today? How do I get an A at the end of the day? And if I have in my mind to add value to the team, to the people, then I get an A. That's what I'm hearing from what you're saying. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I think that's where the accountability or the validation, as I talk a lot about, really comes in. Like every day, I want to make an impact on my family, as an example. I want to share with my wife, Marcia, hey, I love you. How was your day? What do you need? My son, as he goes to school, we pray together before he goes to school. We ask how his day went. It's not, if he just says okay, doesn't work. Because again, I don't do it. How was your day? Yeah, it was good. No, no, no. Like, why? Why was it good? Or it'd be, well, this happened and that happened. I mean, you have to keep drilling down on the accountability of, being accountable to oneself. Did I do my shot list today? Did I wake up on time? Did I first make my bed? As Jim McCraven said, do I start my day expecting excellence, or did I just jump out of bed late and I run and I fight traffic and I show up late, or I'm right on time? Because if you're on time going to work, you're late. You know, we were on this call way before we started recording. On time is late. So, what's your checklist? How do you expect to become invaluable is about how do you do your day? I call it a shot list. Like you check off your things you need to do, but you also have to start with who am I to make sure I'm good. Did I exercise today? Did I have breakfast? Did I hydrate correctly? Did I sleep or rest well? And if I didn't, I got to navigate through that by taking more breaks through the day to recover my energy levels if I didn't get enough last night. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about a shot list of who I am, what I do, and making sure that people around us that we touch every day get the message and they understand, probably most importantly of everything I just said, that I care about you and you matter to me, you matter to the organization. How can I help you? Another question.
That's a great mindset to have. And maybe that should be put on the wall as you leave the house each day to remind you because we do forget. This has all been powerful stuff. I got one question to end it.
Sure.
After studying all this and going through all these, we learn every single day. I mean, that's what's great
Mhm.
about it. You wrote this book, Becoming Invaluable. Anything that you picked up that changed your mind or changed your thought? See, I used to think this, but after studying this and after writing the book, I changed my mind on this topic. You have something?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, you're a master at this. There's a lot of things I could say, but I think just top of mind when you just asked me that right now in real time, what really stood out to me is Steve Bone and myself, who I co-authored with, which I've never co-authored a book before, but it was a cool experience. We were able to work with each other on different mindsets to create this unified belief of what we thought was invaluable. So we interviewed 9 different people on who we thought was invaluable. And every one of those 9 people, it starts every chapter, taught me something very simple. I am worthy to succeed. Because some of these people had bizarre stories, like how they started, where they went. It was never a straight line. It was, I did this, I did that, I failed at this, I failed at that, I failed at that again. I learned that I'm not the only one that fails to succeed, what I call failing forward.
Hmm.
Everyone we interviewed talked as much about failure as they did succeeding because they realized that was the foundation of how you become invaluable. You cannot be afraid to fail. You have to fail, get up, and do it again, and do it again, and success will follow if you keep doing it.
I would say that what you said is important because of consistency.
Yes.
There is a speaker we saw, Angela Duckworth, at our Vistage meeting, and one of the number one keys for being gritty or grit is consistency. Is more
Yes.
important than intensity, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Listen, we all want to be around intense people within reason because they're the life of the party. They're fun. They look at the glass overflowing versus half empty, not even half full. Full. They look at it as overflowing, and that energy. I want to be around that. I mean, it's why Marcia and I clicked so well years ago. Is when I met her, she was just like bubbling over, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot to handle because I'm kind of like that. And then you put that together and it becomes an overflowing of a bucket of water, not just a glass of water. But it's so cool, Chad. I'll leave you with this. We go into our club here locally, and we'll have cocktails and dinner, and there'll be people at the bar, and you're talking to people. They come off the golf course or the tennis court, and some people you know, some people you don't know, and it's invariably Marsh and I will sit there, and within a short period of time, we've got unbelievable conversations going on just because we're energetic. That's it. We're just like, hey, how you doing? And oh my God, where are you from? And they're just like, well, I'm from Boston. And before long, they're like, oh my God, who are you people? So I think energy management, as I touched on yesterday, is so important that there are no bad emotions. There's negative and positive. And I tend to fall on the positive side because I choose to. I could be having a horrible day and show up someplace and go, I'm going to put that in a pocket and I'm going to go be me and be present and be influential and work being my invaluable self to whomever I'm with because I know who I am and I know where I am. And I want to leave an indelible mark because that's my why every morning I wake up. I want to influence and touch everybody I have contact with somehow to be positive to them, to help them be their best and valuable self.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that.
Welcome.
Recapping some of the highlights from this podcast, I think was important was, hey, you wake up in the morning with your mindset. What are you focused on? Where are you
Mhm.
going? What's the purpose of your day?
Yes.
To add value or to help somebody or care about something. And how are you adding value to their lives? And also moving forward, I always say this is what you believe, that's your mindset, you'll
Mhm.
prove. So be careful of what you're thinking because
Yes.
that's going to happen. And I always say if you're a manager hiring people, make sure you hire people who believe what you believe so that the job is easier. You got to believe what you believe and you're going to have to talk to them about the intent. And that's what we talked about today.
Yeah, here's this.
Appreciate
Let me
that.
say this before we close. Here's a scary and an interesting thought. What you just said triggered this. We're recording this session right now. This is not live, obviously. People are tagging in because we do podcasts. We record them and dump them down, and you can get them in evergreen space, right? So what you say to yourself becomes a recording. It's really hard to go back and change a recording. You have to have some pretty cool editing skills to be able to do that. But if you say the same thing to yourself every day, that's not just your recording, that is who you are. If you want to change your recording, you have to know how to push the edit button and change your self talk that I am worthy, I am invaluable, I am loved, I can respect others, I will impact people's lives in a positive way. Change your recording by hitting the edit button, or if not, you end up hearing the same recording every day, and it just becomes an old rerun you've watched every day.
Thank you, Terry. Appreciate
You're
that. If they
welcome.
want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
TerryLyles.com. Very simple. TerryLyles.com. Obviously, our Influence Today podcast, they can Google either one of our names and just do Chet Tart, Terry Lyles or or both of us podcasts, and it pops up. And we have hundreds and hundreds of these that we try to help people. So
Right.
TerryLyles.com for me.
Yeah. And we're getting a lot of response lately. And we're going to have some interviews coming up shortly because
Yes.
I did get curious people with mindset books and things like that to be on the next podcast. So I appreciate
Sure.
that. If you like it, please let us know. You have our information. My email is ctart@vistageflorida.com. Vistage is spelled Vistage, Florida.com. And please share it with other people also. We'd appreciate that. And once in a while, you might want to give us, I guess there's a way to give you stars. So give us
Yes,
some stars if you like it and give us some
absolutely.
feedback. Feedback is incredibly important. I think it's one of the foundations of businesses is how you give feedback. Yes, we're in the space to hear it. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I look forward to our next podcast. This has been Influence Today with Chet Tart and Terry Lyles.